Good morning. It is Tuesday, October 16th, and this is Lisa Copeland coming to you live from Austin, Texas on Be Fierce 365, my 15 minutes of motivation. Sean Weatherby, honest to goodness, you need to send me a message with your address. You're the first one on every day, and I want to send you something. Good morning, everybody. Let's see, Joshua, I've had to switch computers this morning. You know that big, great Apple I was talking about? Well, the mouse froze. So anyways, you're on Fierce 365 with Lisa Copeland. If you like this show, if you're inspired by this show, I want you to share it, like it, leave a comment. Let me know you were here today. If I sound a little hoarse, I did a day trip to Las Vegas yesterday to go speak, and it was just crazy, insane. I think I arrived in Vegas at 1:35 their time, and I flew out at 7:35, spoke at 4, had a world domination meeting from 4 to 5:30. Yeah, I think actually 6 o'clock, 4:30 to 6 o'clock with Kendrick Shope and Sean Thomas. And prior to that, I had a great meeting with Patch and Lisa Patrick. And it's just amazing. Like when you got stuff in life, you got to get done. And then I was back on a plane on one of probably the bumpiest, scariest rides I've ever been on. We're storming really bad here in Austin. And so we kind of the whole way into Austin. And I walked in my front door at about 2:15 this morning. Now, this would have been a morning to go, you know what? They'll understand. They'll understand if I don't get there. Anthony, you are my hero. Anthony is still in Las Vegas. He was with me yesterday, and it's 2 hours earlier. Angela, Julia, Tracy, Michael, Michelle, a nice young man came up, introduced himself to me yesterday and said he follows me because of you, so thank you. He's from Woods in Decatur. Nigel, Judy, Alex, Tracy, you guys rock. Tracy's out on the West Coast. But anyway, so I fly in, crazy bumpy flight, get home at 2 something in the morning, and I just could have laid in bed and just made excuses and just said, oh, you know what? The tribe will forgive me. I'll just tell them I was traveling all night long. No, that's not how we roll. When we're Fierce 365, it is a commitment. I don't care if you've been on an airplane all night long. I don't get to take that excuse. And how many times in life, y'all, do we take that excuse? Well, you know what? I'll make up for it tomorrow. And it was a real test for me. I won't lie to you. I mean, I am tired. I woke up at 4 yesterday, and I was put to sleep about 3 a.m. And I'm somebody who needs my 10 hours of sleep. That's why I go to bed at like 9 o'clock at night. So anyways, but there's nobody else I would have gotten up for except for all of you. Lisa Copeland, live 365, and just to be fierce. And so if you guys like the show, please like it, comment, let me know you're here, and share it. We've been covering Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. God, I had some great conversations around it yesterday when I was speaking. But today what I want to talk about is, we've been talking about drifters, okay? And it looks like I've got a lot of regulars on the show, but basically drifters are people that just don't get it done in life. They make excuses, they don't support other people, they lack magnetism, whatever it may be. But in fairness to the drifters of the world, and there might be a drifter on this show, we've all been drifters. We've all drifted at times in life. So it's nothing to be ashamed of. It's just something to pull yourself out of. Just pull yourself out and commit to be fierce 365 days a year, just like I am. Because I'm telling you, it is raining and cold outside, and it would just have been so fun to lay in bed this morning. But I would have missed you guys. More importantly, I would have disappointed myself. And I don't want to, I'm not going to live the next 365 days and the 365 after that being disappointed anymore. I'm going to do everything in my power to be all I can be. And I know that's the same with all of you. And I see Alex is on there, and Pamela Goodwin, and who else am I got on here? Michelle and Michael Brown. So anyways, today what we're going to talk about is how is fear used to keep us in our limiting beliefs. And one of the things I did on the plane, y'all, I've just been listening to the Napoleon Hill book. And for those of you who have it, I want you to spend some real time in chapters 4 through 6. It really does tell the story. And it tells it really, really well. Oh, and thanks. I guess you must have watched my live stream yesterday, Steve. All right. So 2 things that people fear more than anything. Okay. All people, says the devil. But you know what? I agree. They fear the loss of money, which is poverty, and they fear the loss of health, which results in death. And those drivers drive us so many times that I don't even think we realize it sometimes. So how do you outwit fear? Right? The name of the book's Outwitting the Devil. And Sharon Lecter, who is the editor and annotator of the book, when she brought it out of the vault, can you tell I've been up for 24 hours? Then, in the vault, she's given me permission to go speak on the book. And when my agents have served it up to corporations, they're like, oh, no, we love the premise, but you cannot call it Outwitting the Devil. Like, why? Because we can't talk about the devil, So the name of my keynote around the book is Outwitting Fear, right? Because that really is the premise of this book, right? Is how to outwit fear. So number one, I want you to analyze. Number one, do you own your thinking and you don't rely on others? Meaning, are you a self-thinking person? It's so easy to go right, to go left, to do all of these things, but at the end of the day, we've got to make up our own mind, because that is where, we can absolutely kick fear in the butt, is that we can make the decision that, number one, we're not going to play the fear game. And I told you guys this, I don't know, 3 or 4 shows ago, that fear is real, right? Fear is real, meaning like the house is burning down. That is real. But danger is real. Good gosh, y'all, I'm telling you, it's really been a long 24 hours. Danger is real. The house is burning down. Fear is a choice, which means I'm laying in bed every night and I'm worrying about my house burning down. And that worry about my house burning down is worse to my psyche and to my physical body than anything else could ever be. It's the worry, it's the fear. It is what rents space in so many people's heads. When I spoke at the conference yesterday and I talked about fear and I talked about being fierce, and I had several people come up to me afterwards and they said, Lisa, how do you get out of your own way sometimes? Like, how do I put fear on the shelf? And I said, the first thing you've got to do is that you have to analyze the fear, because so many times we have fears that are irrational. Okay. And I'm not calling anyone irrational, except that I've had them too. I feel like a lot of times I think I have an irrational fear when it comes to my kids and my grandkids. I think I'm to the point in life I don't really fear as much for myself. But I've got an irrational fear when it comes to my kids and my grandkids. Like, I worry about them. Why? Because I can't control it. I can't control what they're out doing. I can't control what what my grandkids are out doing. And so that is where fear sets in, is when we feel out of control in a situation. So, in the comments, if you guys would just write down some of the things. Hi, Angela, Charlie, Josh, Lisa, Walker's back in the country, it looks like. Write down in the column, what are some of the things that you fear? And sometimes we just have to say it out loud. Do you know, on this is the first time I've ever said it out loud, that the things that scare me the most is not being in control of my adult children's lives. And it's not in a weird way, but it's just that, they get to make their own decisions. And I will say, for the majority of the time, they make good decisions. But that to me is an irrational fear, because it's nothing that I can control. So I think that's where fear and faith come in, right? The fear is there, but I've got to have faith, and I have to know that it's something that I have to internally deal with. I pray for my kids and my grandkids and my whole family and my friends and everybody out there every single night, and I ask God to take care of them and protect them. And that's all I know I can do. And then I have to tell myself, when I get these fear thoughts in my head, when ACL's in town, for example, and my son's out there with all the crazies, and it's not, I just have to tell myself that, he'll be okay. And so those are just things I think we have got to work through. Hey, Jonathan and Bugsy and Dennis. It's Lisa Copeland. This is Fierce 365, and we're talking about outwitting the devil. And my one request is, if you like the show, if you'll share it, if you leave me a comment, tell me you were here. If you like it, give me hearts, give me unhappy faces, leave me questions. The big thing that I've served up is the question is, what is it you're afraid of? And another way to repurpose fear is, when we use the word purpose, it's what is your underlying purpose? Like, I want you to put it out there. I want you to think about, You know, what it is that you want out of your personal life, what it is you want out of your business life, okay? And then you have to write down, and I told you guys, it would be working on this, because you ought to see my look how many notes I've got already of me doing the work, right? So what is it you want out of life? And then you have to write down what's stopping you. What is the limiting belief or the fear, okay? Because they really do fall into the same category, that's stopping you from being all you can be. Is it that you don't think you're good enough? Are you afraid that you're going to be rejected? Do you feel like you're not qualified? Do you feel like others won't follow you? What is it? You know, because you can't repurpose a fear. You can't get over something. You can't move forward until you know what it is you're fighting against, right? And to me, fear, especially irrational fear, it's almost like this force that comes at you, right? And just like I told you guys my story, I mean, I deal with it too. But I'm like, how do I know how to fight that if I can't identify it, right? Anthony Max, how are you? Andrea, I have such a hard time with this. And then I don't know if I told you guys, but my great Apple computer this morning, my mouse was frozen. So if you guys have any ideas on that. Adam Aarons, how are you? Live from 35,000 feet above the earth. That is commitment, my friend. That is being fierce 365 days a year. And then last but not least, and we're talking about fear, and we're talking about repurposing fear and outwitting fear, because fear is something that God, it'll stop us and paralyze us. And, you know, and even Napoleon Hill says it. You've got nothing to fear but fear itself. That is a Napoleon Hillism. Oh, I think that's a word, Napoleon Hillism. And so I think as all of us work through, and as we work through this book, and as we work through the show, and as we work through helping each other, holding each other accountable, what is it we fear? And let's just put it out there, and let's work on a plan to push past it, to put it on the shelf, and to repurpose it. But I just want to leave you with this, that time is the great equalizer, and you've got to use it wisely. And I think so many times that fear can be eradicated if we take the time to acknowledge it, to research it. You know, I mean, I think there's a lot of countries that go to war. I think a lot of bad things happen because I'm afraid of you and you're afraid of me, and you might look different than me, or you might believe differently than I do. And all of a sudden now I've got this irrational fear about you or your beliefs or your country or your whatever it may be. And I think if people, as a society, I think if we would slow down and say, you know what, you don't believe the same things I believe. But you know what? I'm going to take the time, the great equalizer, and I'm going to find out a little bit more about you, your country, your religion, your race, your beliefs, whatever it may be. And it doesn't mean I've got to agree with them, but it just means I've got to be more tolerant of them. And tolerant means that I'm going to commit to take the time to learn more about you, so that I'm not afraid of what you do and why you do it, or I'm not worried that it's going to corrupt my life, my country, my religion, whatever it may be. And then I'm going to learn, and then I'm going to create some great questions, and I'm going to come to you because you're different, and I'm going to ask you those questions because I'm going to do the work, I'm going to do the research, I'm going to find out about you. And I think once we find out about so many different situations, they're not bad, they're just different. In fact, they become fascinating. I ask lots and lots of questions of people, and I'm like, don't get offended, but I'm just dying to know this. And people want to tell their story. So we're going to continue on fear tomorrow. And I want to thank all of you. Our 15 minutes is up. But again, I think together we're going to outwit fear. We're not going to let it paralyze us anymore. We're not going to let it keep us polarized, because I think fear does two things. I think it paralyzes, meaning it stops us from doing what we want to do, and I think it polarizes. It keeps us in our own little, I hate to use the word tribe because I love the word tribe, but it keeps us in our own little nooks, and we don't find out about people that are different, and cultures that are different, and religions that may be different, so that we can come together, you know, and build this fierce network of people of all different walks of life. And anyways, so thank you for allowing me to come into your life every morning for 15 minutes. And like I said, I got off of an airplane at 2 something this morning in from Las Vegas, about a 24-hour woo around the sun. And I just could have laid in bed this morning, and I didn't want to, because I love talking to you guys and I love your feedback. So thank you again. Our time is up. And I will see you tomorrow morning. I want you to commit to be unapologetically fierce 365 days a year. And I want you to commit to be back tomorrow. I want you to commit to journal and just to be the best version of you. And I want you to commit to whatever that thing is, that one fear. I want you to commit to just crush it in its tracks. All right, like it, love it, hate it, share it, comment. Love you guys. See you tomorrow.